Hi, I'm Vena Jones-Cox from therealestategoddess.com, and this video is part of my continuing mission to try and get all you wholesaler and wholesaler wannabes out there on the right track with your wholesaling businesses. We need folks out there who have a deeper understanding of this business, who are treating it more professionally, and who are not doing stupid stuff that are messing it up for the rest of us. And I have to say, part of the reason that folks are out there doing stupid stuff is because the real estate education industry and the stuff out there sometimes encourages us to do stupid stuff. And when we don't know any better, and we hear stuff that sounds really, really good and attractive, and all we have to do is spend $2,000 on our next seminar in order to do these wonderful things, we tend to not question them too closely. So today we are going to talk about 6 lies that I have seen in real estate education advertising, on these websites where people give each other advice, and you need to not believe them. Now understand that I do know that some of these things are just hyperbole. Some of them are just incomplete statements. They're not meant to necessarily be what they sound like, but I don't want you to be misled by these wholesaling lies. The first one has to do with virtual wholesaling. That's a term that we never heard before about 5 years ago, because before about 5 years ago, well, there were 2 things. Number one, everybody who was in the wholesaling business understood that there were things you had to do in the wholesaling business if you were going to be successful with it in the long term. Things like learn to evaluate properties, go see them before you made an offer on them, go see them before you started calling sellers and telling them what was wrong with them based on what the seller had told you, because as you know, if you've ever done this, sellers sometimes forget important things about their own properties, like, oh, I don't know, it has a giant foundation problem and it's falling into the ground, or seriously, I've been to houses where the seller neglected to mention on the phone when I asked them about what the house needed that it had had a fire. So the general concept of virtual wholesaling as it is pitched out in the world is you can wholesale from anywhere in the world. So you can be sitting in Seattle, Washington, and you can wholesale houses here in Cincinnati, Ohio, because you don't need to see them. You just need to have your seller upload some information, and then you have access maybe to a list of buyers who are interested in properties, and you just take the information, you pass them on to the buyers, and the buyers, I guess, maybe don't look at the house either. I don't know how that works, but you're gonna make millions of dollars and you never have to leave your house. This is a very attractive concept, and trust me, if it worked, I'd be wholesaling in every city in the United States. But it's mostly attractive to those of you who think that you live in markets where the wholesale market is either saturated, or the property prices are very high, or maybe you don't think there are any buyers in your area. And I'm here to tell you that there is no area like that, okay? There is no area where there's so many wholesalers out there already doing deals that there are none left over for you. Because like you, I believe that I live in the most competitive wholesale market in the United States. We have, I mean, you go outside my office and literally every phone pole has a bandit sign on it. And it's somebody different's bandit sign, every single phone pole, and then on the street corner. So if I was just looking around and I wasn't actually doing the business, I would think, well, these guys are getting all the deals, but they are not. Also, if I lived in a higher dollar market, if I lived in Boston or LA or Seattle or someplace like that, I know something based on working with students in those areas, which is I would be making more per deal than I am here in Cincinnati, Ohio, where our average house price is only $120,000. When you're wholesaling $350,000 starter homes, you can work in a lot bigger wholesale profit for yourself than when you're wholesaling $50,000 rental properties, which is what we're often doing here in the Midwest. So virtual wholesaling, not necessary. It can be done in your backyard, and not really workable in the way in which it is often pitched. Now, do I know people who wholesale in cities other than their own? Yes, but you know what they have? A team on the ground. Somebody who they trust is doing the work that they would normally do if it was in their own backyard. But you know what? you can set up a team on the ground in your own city too. Why do you need to be in a city that you don't understand the market, you don't understand the construction standards, you don't understand that this block is different than this block? If you're going to set up a virtual team who's going to go out and look at properties for you and put in offers or whatever they're going to do, why do you need to do that across the country? Why is there some market hotter than yours? I would challenge you to ask anybody who's ever bought one of these courses, bought the software, etc., to ask them how many deals they have done virtually. Have I met people who've done one or two? Yes. Have I met people who've done it in the sense of, oh, just buy the software, plug it in, and it'll all work for you, that have ever done more than one or two? No. There is no full-time living in virtual wholesaling in the sense of nobody sees the property, I put stuff under contract based on what the seller tells me, and then I hope some buyer will come and take it. Line number 2, wholesaling is no risk. Now, I see that a lot in like sales letters and online, things that are promoting courses. And I think that most of the time what is meant to be said here is that because you don't put a lot of money into properties, since you don't sell properties, you sell deals, that there's not a lot of risk of losing money. But of course, nothing is no risk. Right? Because there's different kinds of risks. There's the risk that I'm going to lose my money. There's the risk that I'm going to get sued. There's the risk that I'm going to undergo regulatory scrutiny because I am holding myself out as if I were, in fact, a real estate agent when I am not. And I got to tell you, I know some people have been sued over wholesale deals. Now, they've been sued because they did stupid things. They ripped people off. They claimed numbers on deals that weren't accurate. They took people's wholesale assignment fees and then wouldn't return them when the deal could not close. And when I say could not close, I don't mean that the buyer couldn't close it. I mean the seller couldn't close it. Everything has a risk. How do you mitigate that risk? You know how to do it right. You have your skills in place, you know how to evaluate properties, you're not putting deals out there to newbie investors that they don't understand any better than you do, and they end up finding out that the house that you told them was worth 150 was only worth 90 when they tried to sell it. Those are the kinds of people who sue you, right? Unhappy customers. Okay, so don't be a bad guy, number 1, and number 2, know that you know what you are doing. Number 3 is just go out and get the contract. If somebody wants $90,000 for their house and you want to pay them $70, just go ahead and get it under contract at $90. Because that way, after 3 or 4 weeks, when the property hasn't closed, you can go back to them and you can say, man, I looked at it some more and I decided that because of some stuff that I should have been able to see the first time, I really can't do 90, I can only do 70. And what you're hoping for is that they will be so desperate to sell at that point because they thought their house was sold and now you're telling them it isn't, that they will agree to your $70,000 price. That's scummy. Okay, that's out and out scumbag behavior. Would you want someone doing that to your grandma? I don't think so. So the idea in wholesaling is not to get contracts, it is to get contracts that will close. It is to get contracts where you have done your evaluation, you know it's a good deal, you know it's a good deal for the person that you're going to sell the contract to. There's plenty of buyers out there, you got a list of contacts of people that have said they were interested in buying houses, and you're going to get it sold. Now, does that mean you will never renegotiate a contract? No, because there are situations that you have not run across yet if you haven't done a wholesale deal, but you go into a house and it's packed with stuff, like at the hoarder house, right? Everything, all the walls have boxes and junk up to the top, and there's things you can't see, and then the folks move the stuff out and you're like, oh look, that wall has to be completely rebuilt. There was no way you could have known that. So in that case, you probably will renegotiate the contract because you did have an inspection contingency that allowed you to look at everything when you couldn't look at it the first time. But the idea is not just to get contracts. I've even seen advice given online that says, oh hey, you know what, look, just put it under contract, see if you can find a buyer at that higher price. Guys, if you think the right price is 70, that means that you think the right price at which to sell a deal is probably 74, 75, 80, something like that. And you're going to put it under contract for 90 and offer it for what, 99? That's a terrible deal. That's going to lose you serious customers in the long run when they figure out that they cannot trust your numbers at all. So the idea is not get contracts. It is get contracts that will close. In fact, your goal should be always get contracts that you are willing to close. Always get contracts at prices that you are so confident are good prices that you're perfectly willing to buy them yourself and fix them and rent them, or buy them yourself and fix them and sell them, or buy it yourself because you know if you didn't find a buyer, just maybe you didn't have enough time, that it will still sell to somebody else. So yes, that means you need to know how to get that money, because it's probably not going to be your money, but that's not that difficult. Number 4, don't bother to find deals at all. Just take other people's deals and wholesale those. Take deals that somebody else has under contract and go find a buyer and bring the buyer, and either split the wholesale fee with the actual wholesaler, because you're not a wholesaler in this case, or raise the price up and you take the difference. Man, that is dangerous, dangerous, dangerous stuff. How do you justify legally selling a property that you don't even, or selling a contract that you don't even hold? You don't hold the contract. And I know, you've got an agreement with the other wholesaler that says you can market his deal and that he will pay you. Do you know what people are called when they have marketing agreements with the actual principal and they get paid based on the sale of that deal? They're called realtors. And you need to get a realtor's license if you want to do that. Because there's no legal justification for you having some agreement, a temporary option or something on a property that the other wholesaler doesn't own, because all he has is a purchase agreement and that's all he has to sell. And now you're making money somehow bringing a buyer into the deal. Do the work, get your own deals, get your own customers. Number 5. This one is not so much said as implied in a lot of the marketing that I see. You don't need to do anything other than wholesale. In fact, a lot of the marketing advice I see doesn't even so much imply that you shouldn't do it. It implies that you're a fool if you do it. It implies that, man, landlording is so hard and retailing is so complicated and doing anything else just requires so much work and so much effort. And all of those things actually are, in some ways, more complex and different strategies than wholesaling. You need to know a different set of things to be a landlord than you do to be a wholesaler. But that message of you're a fool if you're doing anything except flipping it's bad for your financial health. If all you are doing is wholesaling, how are you building long-term passive wealth? You are not. You're creating cash, which is highly taxable, and you're creating cash, which gets spent. So the message of don't do anything other than wholesaling really should be turned on its head. What you should be doing is going out and looking for deals that are going to help you with your long-term goals, your long-term income, and everything that comes across your desk should be looked at first as, is this something that I would like to hold on to, or is this something that I would like to renovate and resell? And if not, maybe it's something that someone else would like to do. And the other things you're doing, you're going to be fairly picky about it. Like I will only buy rental properties with a certain radius of my house. I'm not interested in buying a rental property that's halfway across the state. So if I get a lead from halfway across the state, I'm going to go ahead and talk to the people about it. I may go take a look at it. I'm going to put it under contract, and I'm going to sell it to somebody who is there, right? So that it's convenient for them and it's something that makes them happy and makes them money. But the goal with each deal should be to look at it and say, is this one, I'm going to put it under contract, but is this a contract that I want to close before you look at it, as is this a deal that I want to wholesale? And finally, this ad has been following me around the internet because I clicked on it once and they've got it very SEO optimized, and every website I open, this ad pops up now. And it says, the headline of the ad is, this is the last wholesaling course you'll ever need. Or this is the last wholesaling course you'll ever need. And I will say that the person who is running these ads and who is offering a free ebook as part of the ads, I've heard good things about his wholesaling course. I'm not saying anything bad about his wholesaling course, But you do need to know that this is not his wholesaling course. This is a free ebook, and when you go to his website, there actually is a course that you pay for. So I'm not sure that the ebook is the last course I ever need if I'm then getting pitched for the course I have to pay for. It's more the idea that there is such a thing as the last wholesaling course you will ever need. Because if you're going to take number 5 seriously, you know that you have to cross-train. And you have to cross-train in wholesaling, right? Like if you're a wholesaler, you should be showing up at everything you can go to that has to do with wholesaling to see what other people are doing and to see if there's some little piece of your business that they're doing better than you are. You also need to cross-train to know what your customers are doing. You need to cross-train in retailing and landlording and all of the different things that your customers might be doing so that you have a better understanding of what the buyers are going to do with your properties and what that's going to cost them and what challenges are going to be in front of them so that you can price your wholesale deals more realistically. There will never be any such thing as the last wholesaling course you ever take as long as you plan to still be in the business, be successful in the business, and keep up to date on the business. Guys, markets change. Ask me how my business is different now than it was in 2006, because it will take me 5 hours to explain all of the ways in which my business is different now than it was in 2006. Buyers change. Who the good buyers are out there, it's different depending on the economy and what's happening in the rental markets and what's happening in the retail markets. Technology changes, right? We don't run ads in the classified ads in the newspaper anymore because technology has changed and people don't go to the newspaper looking to sell houses anymore. So, all I can say about this is at my upcoming wholesaling class, about 50% of the people in attendance have been there before. And these are not folks who are coming back because they didn't get it the first time. These are folks who are coming back because they are in the wholesaling business and they understand that they need to come back and get updated and learn more about how the business works and how it works today and what's working today. If you'd like to join those folks, you can check out the link to my upcoming wholesale class. It's right here below the video. I hope I've undone some of the lies that you have seen over and over on the internet. I hope you keep these things in mind as you see them in the future. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I look forward to seeing you again.